Hi, welcome back to the KB6NU Online Tech Class. In this lesson, we're going to talk about Ohm's Law and DC power. Ohm's Law is an equation that describes the relationship between voltage, current, and the resistance in a DC circuit. Let's take a look at our simple DC circuit again. The most common equation for Ohm's Law is E equals I times R. In other words, when you know the current flowing through a circuit and the resistance of the circuit, you can calculate the voltage across the circuit. Question: what is the formula used to calculate voltage in a circuit? Answer: voltage E equals current I multiplied by resistance R. Using simple algebra, you can derive the other two forms of this equation. These two equations let you calculate the resistance in a circuit if you know the voltage and current, or the current in a circuit if you know the voltage and the resistance. Question: what formula is used to calculate resistance in a circuit? Answer: resistance R equals voltage E divided by current I. Question: what is the formula used to calculate current in a circuit? Answer: current I equals voltage E divided by resistance R. Now, let's take a look at some examples. Question: what is the resistance of a circuit in which a current of 3 amperes flows through a resistor connected to 90 volts? Answer: 30 ohms. Here's how to calculate this answer. R equals E divided by I equals 90 volts divided by 3 amperes, and that's 30 ohms. Note that I've spelled out the word ohms here instead of using the omega symbol. This is because on the test, you will see the word spelled out like this and not the Greek letter omega. Question: what is the resistance in a circuit for which the applied voltage is 12 volts and the current is 1.5 amperes? Answer: 8 ohms. We use the same equation here. R equals E divided by I, and that's equal to 12 volts divided by 1.5 amperes, and that equals 8 ohms. Question: what is the resistance of a circuit that draws 4 amperes from a 12-volt source? Answer: 3 ohms. Again, R equals E divided by I equals 12 volts divided by 4 amperes, and that works out to be 3 ohms. Now let's take a look at another type of question. Question: what is the current flow in a circuit with an applied voltage of 120 volts and a resistance of 80 ohms? Answer: 1.5 amperes. In this example, we're going to use the equation I equals E divided by R. And in this example, that's 120 volts divided by 80 ohms, and that equals 1.5 or 1.5 amperes. Question: what is the current flowing through a 100 ohm resistor connected across 200 volts? Answer: 2 amperes. Again, I equals E divided by R equals 200 volts divided by 100 ohms, and that's equal to 2 amperes. Question: what is the current flowing through a 24 ohm resistor connected across 240 volts? Answer: 10 amperes. I equals E divided by R equals 240 volts divided by 24 ohms, and that equals 10 amperes. Now let's take a look at the final version of this equation. Question: what is the voltage across a 2 ohm resistor if a current of 0.5 amperes flows through it? Answer: 1 volt. E equals I times R, that's 0.5 amperes or a half an ampere, times 2 ohms, and that equals 1 volt. Question: what is the voltage across a 10 ohm resistor if a current of 1 ampere flows through it? Answer: 10 volts. E equals I times R equals 1 amp times 10 ohms, and that's 10 volts. Question: what is the voltage across a 10 ohm resistor if a current of 2 amperes flows through it? Answer: 20 volts. Again, E equals I times R equals 2 amps times 10 ohms, and that equals 20 volts. Now, let's talk about DC power. Power is the rate at which electrical energy is generated or consumed. Power is measured in watts, and the letter capital W is the symbol we use for watts. Question: which term describes the rate at which electrical energy is used? Answer: power. Question: what is the formula used to calculate electrical power in a DC circuit? Answer: power P equals voltage E multiplied by current I. Question: electrical power is measured in which of the following units? Answer: watts. Okay, now let's take a look at some examples. Question: how much power is being used in a circuit when the applied voltage is 13.8 volts DC and the current is 10 amperes? Answer: 138 watts. To calculate this power, we use the equation power equals voltage times current. In this case, that's equal to 13.8 volts times 10 amperes, and the result is 138 watts. Question: how much power is being used when the applied voltage in a circuit is 12 volts and the current is 2.5 amperes? Answer: 30 watts. Again, we use P equals E times I. That's 12 volts times 2.5 amperes, or 30 watts. Just as we did with Ohm's law, you can use algebra to come up with an equation to calculate the current if you know the power and the voltage. This equation is I equals P divided by E. Here's an example. How many amperes are flowing in a circuit when the applied voltage is 12 volts DC and the load is 120 watts? In this question, the word load means the amount of power that the circuit is consuming. Answer: 10 amperes. The calculation goes like this. I equals P divided by E equals 120 watts divided by 12 volts, and the answer is 10 amperes. Well, that's the end of this lesson. Please take the quiz and continue on to the next lesson.